Hey guys, today in this video I'm going to be showing you how I prep for a basic gel manicure, which is the same as how I prep for acrylic, and I'll be showing you how I apply the gel base coat as well. So here we're doing a squivel shape. I always do the flat bottom first and then just round out the sides. You want to keep in mind not to damage the sidewall of the nail, going too in instead of just making sure that it's straight, going down. And if you do that, if you cut in too much, then it'll create this annoying, like, unnatural ridge on the sidewall, which I'm sure you guys have seen before. If you have a client who breaks their nails a lot, I always recommend doing more of an oval or round shape since it is a little bit stronger and has the durability to withstand a heavier handed client. We won't be coming back to reshape or file afterwards, since after we put the base gel on, we will move right into polishing. So you want to make sure that you and your client are happy with the shape and the length and all that jazz. This is the Ugly Duckling coarse file, which I will be using for the duration of the video. Now, when removing the shine from the nail, you really don't have to do a whole bunch, meaning this drill is going super slow, you guys. I tried showing, if you want to rewind and watch that, it goes real slow. I literally turn it up just until you can see it start spinning around. You don't want to go too fast because that's just going to add more rotations, which is just taking off more nail that you don't need to. All you're doing is removing that shine. Once it's gone, then the job is done. I would recommend not getting a super coarse bit because having it take off or scratch up the nail plate more visually is not going to make the nail enhancement stay better. It's just going to damage the nail. So if you're concerned about lifting, one of the ways to prevent that is to ensure the nail plate is void of all that dead tissue. It's kind of like if you imagine putting a sticker on a really dusty car, right? It wouldn't really work. It would just fall off in a couple days. So same thing with gel. You want to make sure it has a nice clean surface to adhere to. So I got this cuticle pusher from Sin City Nails online, which is from Kelly, who is the same, or actually the owner of Nail Best USA, which is the gel brand I will be using here later in the video. But I really enjoy using these cuticle pushers. They're sharp, so they are really great at scraping all that dead tissue off of the nail plate and really pushing that cuticle up and out of the way. You want to make sure not to dig too deep or put too much pressure here, otherwise you will damage the nail bed and it will hurt the client. But you do want to put enough pressure to push the dead skin up and away from the nail plate, exposing the nail underneath and allowing closer product application and less lifting as well. So moving on to the flame bit, it's important that you work with a speed that you feel comfortable with. I typically work with a fairly low speed as I just don't want to damage the natural nail, but if you want to go faster and move quicker, you definitely can. There are also a variety of beginner bits as well if you don't want to jump right into the flame bit, which I did as well, so feel free to do that too. But again, with this bit, you don't want to put too much pressure or it will cause damage and weakness in the nail as it grows out. So pretty much we're just focusing on lifting up that dead skin and working from the center of the cuticle to the left using downward sweeping motions and making sure to stay parallel to the nail plate too to not cause any damage. And then we're going to reverse the E-file and continue to the other side and work back from the middle of the cuticle down. This step is pretty much the icing on the cake to nail prep. I mean, it helps prevent lifting and really gets to those places that the sand band just can't. Now, when we start to cut the cuticles, I like to actually push them up just one more time and use the opposite end of the cuticle pushers to really get all that debris and junk out of the cuticle area. I use $10 nippers from my local nail shop, which is here in Vegas called Direct Beauty. But I prefer mine really sharp just to make sure that the dead skin is being removed in a clean cut and not tear. You always want to refrain from pulling the skin. So when you close the nippers, you want to make sure they're completely shut before pulling away. If it isn't, it can tear and cause, their skin to rip and start bleeding, possibly, all that good stuff. So pretty much if it isn't white or clear, obviously don't cut it. Just leave it there. I always communicate to the client to let them know if anything is ever uncomfortable, especially during trimming here. If it pinches at all, to let me know, definitely to avoid injury. But you can notice here how to pull the side walls down to expose any dead tissue and really get to those side walls. This is probably the most satisfying part of the process. I literally could watch cuticle videos all day long. But when I first started, it was actually really awkward holding the nippers flipped over like this on the left side of the cuticle. But the biggest thing in nails really is just to practice like everything else. I basically forced myself to hold it properly until it became a habit, and then that goes, with everything else. So pretty much, marble nail art. First attempt was horrendous. But I practiced, watched a bunch of videos, tried probably 10 different techniques, and through all that I was able to find what worked best for me. So best advice, just watch all the videos you can. Take all the classes if you can afford it. Find what, your own groove is, because not everything is going to be the best option for you. Example, just because I like cutting the cuticle doesn't mean you have to. If you feel more comfortable using the cuticle bits and not even using the nippers at all, go for it. Do whatever works best for you. Just because I'm sculpting doesn't mean that tips are bad. If you want to get the clients out faster, if that's what you feel more comfortable doing, then do it. Whatever's going to make you money, whatever's going to fill up your chair and make your clients happy, then that's really all that matters, right? So this is gonna be the longest part of the whole manicure. Everything else pretty much takes under like a couple minutes. Cutting the cuticles, take your time. Cutting cuticles and polishing is what I always say. Take as much time as you need. Don't skip out or rush or cut corners there. You'll end up hurting them or end up producing a product that's not ideal. And don't forget that this is the same process that I do for any extensions, gel, any nail prep. I do this for everything that I do, for every client that comes in, every service. I know some people don't cut the cuticles each time, which is super confusing to me, but I definitely will do this for each service to make sure that there isn't any lifting and the regrowth doesn't look tremendously long. And with the cuticle pusher, don't be afraid to put pressure there. Obviously, you don't want to cause damage, press down, or cut into the nail bed, but you want to really scoot that tissue out of the way and up. This will help when you're applying product later and polishing to really get as close to the skin as you can and make the nail look as natural as possible. Now, if you guys are locals living in Las Vegas, or if you're living close by, definitely feel free to just come get a manicure from me, and I can pretty much do like a one-on-one with you. I wouldn't charge anything extra other than the service being performed, but I'm an open book. I love helping, other techs succeed and do what they love to do. And definitely feel free to leave a comment, obviously, if you guys want to see something specific or if you want to expand on some skill, nail art, whatever it may be. Definitely would like to hear what you guys would like to see in the future. So next we are going to start using this round ball bit from Red Iguana's site. Amazing. It's so smooth. I tend to put it pretty low still. I don't turn it up super duper high just because we already took off a significant amount of the cuticle. We don't really have that much to take off. So this is literally perfecting what we just did to make sure the regrowth is nice and healthy, and to really just, it's pretty much like exfoliating, a deep exfoliator for the cuticles, make them look really nice and perfect for the manicure. And of course you don't want to stay in one area too long. Obviously the friction will cause heat and cause it to burn. I've never cut anyone with this before, but I'm sure that you can, so just still be careful, but it really feels super light and fluffy. And it's really good at getting those side corners where everyone gets those little rough spots from riding and just everyday activity. This step might seem a little bit extra and doesn't really need to be performed, but I promise it's like the icing on the cake. It just makes the manicure look so clean. So we're going to wipe really diligently with alcohol, and you can tell the difference from an unmanicured nail to a manicured nail. So this is the base gel that I use for all my manicures. It seriously was a game changer when I discovered this from Kelly's Sin City Nails. I honestly don't know how more techs aren't using this, but it's called Nail Best. And here I have the nude rubber base gel number 5, which is perfection. The great thing about the consistency is you can actually coat the whole nail first with a very thin layer, getting as close to the skin as possible, and then you can actually take another scoop, which I'll do here in just a second, with more product on the brush and apply it just like you would hard gel to the nail, and just watch here as it literally just levels out to perfection. And you can tell how the shape is looking by looking at that strip of light going down the nail. So that when I'm rocking it back and forth before I put it in the light, that's what I'm looking at, is to make sure that that looks perfect. And the awesome part about this as well is that since it will perfect the apex and the shape of the nail, you won't have to file or drill or shape anything. It will go straight into the color. And when the client returns the next time, you will be able to safely drill off the color since that base is so thick for your returning clients. So it makes it a little bit quicker. You don't have to soak off every time. But if you do, it is soakable. So another fantastic thing about this vegan gel-based brand, which she gets from Russia, by the way. So super fancy. It will take a couple tries, so don't be totally discouraged at first, especially if you aren't used to using gel or hard gel. Again, this is not a hard gel. You can soak it off or even use it like a normal base coat, like you already do. So after you apply that thin layer covering the whole nail, don't be afraid to get a good scoop of that product like I did here, because you're going to be using it to basically cover the whole nail and create a nice strong apex. I use the pink refillable containers from the same site that the gel is on, which I will put in the description of the video as well. But I use the same 10 ml bottle for just the brush for each color because I have a few different ones. They're all really beautiful. Probably my second favorite would be the Nude 2, would be the other one I use the most. So make sure to cover the nail all the way to the free edge, otherwise it might lift or peel in the future, possibly even crack. And make sure not to put too much product on at once or it will leak and kind of just start oozing down the side. If it does do that, sometimes it's better to just wipe it clean with alcohol, let it dry completely, and then start again with a thin layer. At first it will take a while, but again, remember, you have to just get your flow going. It is self-leveling, so just let it do the work for you. I always think float, float, float. You can also kind of drag the gel up from the side to the middle if you're having trouble getting that strong apex as well. As you can see, the light lines are glorious and perfectly ready for color. They look natural. The nude base covers any imperfection on the natural nail, and it provides a nice solid foundation for one coat gel application, which can be done with highly pigmented gel colors like Presto, Vetro, and Bio Seaweed Gel, as I am showing you here, using these beautiful colors. And my favorite No Wipe Top Coat, which is actually a vegan brand as well. Now, as we enjoy this amazing before and after, let me know if you guys want to see something specific that you want to kind of expand on. Definitely feel free to leave comments, obviously, of what you guys want to learn in the future. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed viewing this video and learned some new skills. And always remember, you guys, before giving up on anything, the only difference between those who fail and succeed is persistence. Catch you next time.